Alright, so this is going to be our notes number 4. Okay, product of powers with negative exponents that you're going to have. Okay, on your notes number 4, product of powers with negative exponents. So you're going to put it right here. We'll just put it here, product of powers. And this is going to be negative. Okay, so this is number 3. Product of powers with negative exponents that we're going to be looking at right now. Alright, so then what we're going to do is just we're going to make sure we have our number 4 up there on the top. And we're just going to do a few notes with us that you'll be able to see. So here's our first one that we're going to look at here. Okay, so if I give you the example, we're going to look at our product. Let's do one that looks like this. 3 squared times 3 to the negative 1 power. Okay, so I'm going to take 3 squared and I'm going to multiply it by 3 to the negative 1 power. So what I'm going to do is I just follow the same rules. I look at this and I see I still have the same bases together. So I'm going to put my base and I'm going to add my exponents together. So my exponents here are 2 and negative 1. So I can pull out a calculator and do 2 plus negative 1. And I see I get 1. So my new thing is now 3 to the first power. Since it's positive, I don't have to take the reciprocal. I can expand it by just putting 3. Because 3 to the first power is just 3. And the answer in standard form is 3. So now I have all my answers there for me to be able to look at. So there's no difference. It's just that you've got negative numbers or you got positive numbers there for you. Okay? If I do another one, let's say here, let's do x to the negative 5 times x to the negative 2nd power. Okay? So I got x to the negative 5 power times x to the negative 2 power. Well, I look, I see I still got the same bases, which is x. I'm going to just add my exponents together. So my exponents are negative 5 and negative 2, so I'm going to add those together. So I got negative 5 plus negative 2. When I add those together, I get negative 7. So I have x to the negative 7 power. Since I've got a negative exponent, I need to take the reciprocal of x. So the reciprocal of x is going to be 1 over x to the 7th power. And then I can write it in expanded form as 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there. And I don't have a standard form because there's x is not a number, so I'm just going to leave it as that. So now I have it in expanded form and I'm good to go. Okay? Here's my next one I can give to you. I don't know. Let's look at one here at negative 5 to the 3rd power times negative 5 to the negative 4 power. Okay? So I know by rule if I'm multiplying exponents and they have the same base, which my bases here are 5 or negative 5, all I have to do is just add my exponents. So I've got 3 and negative 4. So I'm going to add 3 plus negative 4. I get it to be my exponent to be negative 1. Now I can take the reciprocal of it because it's a negative exponent, so I got to make it a positive exponent. So I'm going to flip it over, take the reciprocal of negative 5, which is 1 to the negative 5th, with a 1. I can expand it out as 1 to the negative 5 and 1 to the negative 5 here. That's my standard form. Okay? Pretty easy so far. If I do another one, let's see here. If I do another one like this, let's see here. Let's do 3 to the 4th power times 3 to the negative 8 power. Well, my bases are the same, so I know by definition when I'm multiplying, I'm going to put down the same base, add my exponents. So I got 4 and negative 8. So take my calculator here and do 4 plus negative 8. I get negative 4 as my new exponent. This exponent is negative, so I need to make it positive. So I need to take the reciprocal of 3. So the reciprocal of 3 is 1/3 to the 4th power. Then I can expand that out to 1 over 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And that's going to give me, when I get my standard form, 1 over 81. So there we go. Okay. If I give you one that looks like this, I don't know, let's see here, 1/2 to negative 3rd power times 1/2 to the 5th power. Okay. I see that my bases are the same. 1/2 and 1/2 are my bases. So I get to jot them down. Then I know by rule that since it's the same base, I just take and add my exponents since I'm multiplying. So I'm going to take negative 3 plus 5, and I get 2. So I got 1/2 squared, or 1/2 to the 2nd power. My exponent is positive, so there's no reciprocal. Okay. To expand this out, I've got 1 times 1 on top. That's 1 squared. Then I've got 2 on the bottom. I got 2 of those. 2 times 2. So there it is expanded out. And then I can multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 gives me 4. So there's my answer there that I've got. Okay? Say for instance we have this one. X to the 3rd power, y to the 2nd power, times x to the negative 1 power, y to the negative 1 power. Well, let's just look. I can combine the like bases. So with my like bases, I have x and x, and I've got y and y. So I'm going to put the x together. So when I put those together, I'm going to do 3 plus negative 1. So I do 3 plus negative 1. I get 2. And then I'm going to multiply that by y and y, because those are like bases. I'm going to do 2 plus negative 1, which is 1. I don't have any negative numbers, so I don't have to do a reciprocal. And I can expand that out by doing x times y. It's the same thing. And there's no standard form on here. Okay? I'll do one more with you. So if I got one like this, negative 3 to the 0 power times negative 3 to the negative 3 power, negative 3rd power. So it's negative 3 to the 0 power times negative 3 to the negative 3 power. So what that means is that I can now know that I have equal bases, negative 3. By definition, since I'm multiplying, I'm going to take my 0 and my negative 3 and add them together. So I do 0 plus negative 3. I get negative 3 for my answer. Since I have a negative base, I mean a negative exponent, since I have a negative 3 in my exponent, I need to take the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 3 is 1 over negative 3. I flip it upside down. The negative becomes positive now, so my exponent is now 3. I can now expand that out by doing 1 over negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And that's going to give me 1 over negative 27 in standard form. So those are all the same. So all we're doing on here is if they have the same bases, or like this case, if they had the same bases, you find the same bases. If they're being multiplied, all you're doing is adding the exponents. So in this case, if the same, it says if the same, so what we'll do here is we'll fill those in as we go, okay? So it says if the bases are the if the same, I don't know what to put there. It says if negative, take if negative exponent, take the reciprocal, and make the exponent positive. Okay? If the same basis, add the exponents. That's what it is. Oh, tongue twister. So if the bases are the same, we add the exponents. If the negative exponent, we take the reciprocal and make the exponent positive. That's only the difference that we have to do. If we add them together and we get something that's negative like this, we've got to take the reciprocal and make sure that's positive in this case. Okay? What I want you guys to do now is I'm going to give you when you finish, I need for you to raise your hand and ask for a organizer, and I want you to do numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when you're finished, have me check them on your organizer, okay? And then when I finish checking them, you can go on to your next one on your. You can go on to your. I think it is Manga High, or go to your next number if you've checked. I'm sorry, go to the Socrative and work on the Socrative one. The room number is Obermann, so go ahead and do that after you've checked. After I've checked them and you've got them all correct, then you can go to the Manga High. To the Socrative, which I think is number 3 on Moodle. Then go to number 3 on Moodle. It's number 3, I believe. Okay? If you have any questions, please ask. Thanks.